The galaxy had not seen peace for thousands of years. Across hundreds of worlds, the Galactic Council ruled with iron hands and silver laws. They called themselves the Guardians of Order. But behind their golden halls, fear lived in silence. Every species in the galaxy feared only one name: humans. Once, long ago, humans had come from a small blue world called Earth. They were strange, emotional, and unpredictable. They had no great ships at first, no powerful energy weapons, yet they spread faster than any other species. Wherever they went, they changed the balance of power. And the Council hated that. When humans began to rise, the Council decided to watch them. But humans did not wait for permission. They built colonies, they made alliances, and they helped weaker races fight for freedom. In a few hundred years, humanity became a symbol of rebellion, hope for some, danger for others. And then, humanity went silent. No ships, no signals, no colonies. One day they were there. The next, they were gone. The Council thought it was impossible. Worlds that once sang with human life were empty, cold, and covered with dust. Cities stood still as if everyone had simply walked away. The Council didn't understand what had happened, but they were relieved. The threat was gone. For 100 years, the galaxy grew quiet again. The Council expanded its control and erased every trace of human history. Their archives told a single story. Humanity destroyed itself. But whispers never die completely. In hidden corners of the galaxy, there were those who still spoke the name human with respect and fear. On the planet Vara 9, deep inside the Council's archive sector, a young historian named Lyra Venn found something strange. She was a quiet researcher who never broke rules. But that day, something caught her eye. A sealed file marked with the word Terra, classified, level Omega. Curiosity burned inside her. She had heard stories about humans, but only as myths. The file wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Still, her fingers moved before her mind could stop them. She opened the file. The screen flickered and a single image appeared. A message recorded centuries ago. A human stood in the frame wearing an old uniform, eyes calm but cold. To whoever finds this, the Council will act, but they will act too late. Remember this, we left because we chose to. The war never began because we ended it before it could start. The message ended abruptly. Lyra stared at the screen. What did he mean? We left because we chose to. Where could an entire species go? Before she could dig deeper, her console flashed red. Unauthorized access detected. She panicked, closing the file, but it was too late. Security drones were already on their way. Lyra was brought before the High Council, a group of ancient beings who had ruled for millennia. Their leader, Archon Sareth, looked down at her with cold eyes. "Do you know what you have done?" he asked. "I only opened an old file," she said. "I didn't mean—" "That file was not yours to see," Sareth interrupted. "Humans are a danger. Even their memory must stay buried. But why?" Lyra whispered. "They're gone." The message said they left before the war began. "What war?" The council chamber grew silent. Sareth leaned forward. "There was no war because we stopped them first," he said quietly. But there was something in his voice, something uncertain, almost fearful. Lyra was taken away to be questioned, but in her heart she knew she had touched something powerful, something the council didn't want anyone to remember. That night in her cell, a whisper came through the intercom. "Do you want to know the truth about the humans?" The voice was deep and calm, not robotic, not alien. It sounded human. Lyra froze. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I'm someone who remembers," the voice said. "If you want to live, listen carefully. The council didn't destroy humanity. Humanity left, but not before leaving something behind." "What do you mean?" she asked. There was a pause. "Tomorrow, when they move you to the interrogation wing, there will be a power drop. Run, find the archive vault. Look for a file named Project Dawn," and then the voice vanished. The next morning, the lights flickered just as the voice had said. The guards shouted as systems failed. Lyra grabbed the chance and ran through the dark halls. Sirens screamed around her, but she didn't stop until she reached the main archive chamber. There it was. Project Dawn. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was not a file, but a coordinate map. A distant system, far beyond the known galaxy, and one line of text. We will return when the stars are ready. Lyra's eyes widened. Humanity wasn't dead. They had left. But they planned to come back, and the Council, they knew. That's why they had erased everything. That's why they were afraid. As alarms blared around her, Lyra realized the truth. The humans had not been destroyed. They had simply moved beyond, waiting for the moment to return. And when they did, no council in the galaxy would be ready. The alarms echoed through the steel corridors of the Council archive. Lyra Venn clutched the small data crystal labeled Project Dawn and ran. Her heart pounded like thunder. Behind her, metal doors slammed shut and red lights flashed across the walls. "Security breach. All exits locked," shouted a robotic voice. Lyra turned sharply, diving through a maintenance tunnel. Sparks fell from broken wires above her. Her breathing was heavy, but her mind was racing faster than her feet. Project Dawn. Coordinates. "We will return when the stars are ready." The words burned inside her head. Humanity had not died. They had planned something far beyond the Council's reach. As she crawled through the tunnel, a hologram flickered in front of her. It was the same voice from the night before, calm, human, and serious. "You found the crystal, good. Now listen carefully." "Who are you?" she whispered. "My name is Captain Elias Ward, United Terran Fleet. If you're hearing this, it means the Council is still hiding the truth." Lyra stopped moving. The hologram showed a man with gray eyes and a quiet strength in his voice. Project Dawn was humanity's final mission. "We saw what was coming. The Council's fear, their growing armies. We chose not to fight. We chose to leave," Lyra frowned. "Leave? How can an entire species just leave?" "Not easily," Elias said. "We built ships large enough to carry whole cities. We called them arcs. We sent them beyond the edge of the galaxy into a region no Council probe could follow." The hologram flickered again as static filled the air. "If this message survives, remember this. Humanity didn't run away. We evolved. The Council will act too late because by the time they understand, we'll already be watching." The hologram ended. Lyra sat there in silence. Her hands shook as she realized the weight of what she had discovered. Humanity was out there, alive, hidden, and waiting. But the Council would not let her keep that secret. The moment she stepped out of the tunnel, soldiers surrounded her. They wore black armor with the golden crest of the Council. Their commander, a tall alien with silver skin, stepped forward. "Lyra Venn," he said. "By order of the High Council, you are under arrest for violating Archive Protocol 01. Hand over the crystal." She held it tightly. "You don't understand. The humans, we understand perfectly," he interrupted coldly. "That is why we cannot let you live." He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the lights went out again. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Then from the shadows came a blinding flash of blue light. The soldiers screamed and fell. Lyra covered her eyes. When she looked again, a small drone hovered above the fallen guards. Its metal frame bore a strange symbol, a blue circle with a white star in the middle. "Come with me if you want answers," a voice said through the drone's speaker. It was human. The drone guided her through hidden corridors that led outside the city. The night sky over Vara 9 was dark, filled with thousands of glowing moons. A sleek black ship waited at the edge of the landing platform. Its design was unlike anything she had ever seen, sharp, smooth, almost alive. The drone flew ahead and the ship's hatch opened. Inside stood a man, human, real, not a hologram. He looked around 30, wearing an old Terran jacket with the same star emblem. His eyes were bright but tired, as if he had seen too much. "You're real," Lyra whispered. He smiled faintly. "We never stopped being real. We just stopped being seen. Who are you?" "Commander Jace Marin," he said. "Human Recon Fleet, Ghost Division. We've been watching the Council for centuries." Lyra was speechless. "Centuries? That's impossible." "Not when time moves differently where we've been," Jace replied. "The Council thinks we vanished, but we only stepped outside their reach." As the ship lifted off, Lyra looked out the window. The world below grew smaller. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Humans were alive, operating in secret right under the Council's eyes. Jace turned to her. "You found Project Dawn. That means the Council is getting desperate. They've begun preparing their weapon again. The one they never used the first time." "The weapon?" Lyra asked. "It's called the Stellar Net," he said. a grid of energy that can wipe out entire systems. The Council wanted to use it on Earth, but they hesitated. By the time they pushed the button, we were gone. So, the message was true, she whispered. They acted too late, Jace nodded. And now they're making the same mistake again. They think we're extinct, but this time when they push that button... He paused, his eyes cold and distant. They'll find out what it means to wake the humans. Hours later, the ship entered deep space. Jace handed her a small data pad showing hundreds of glowing dots. Ships, stations, colonies. This is what the Council tried to erase, he said softly. The Terran Exodus fleet. Still alive, still waiting. We didn't just leave, we built a new home far beyond their stars. Lyra stared in awe. You've been watching them all this time? Yes. Waiting for the right moment, Jace said. But now, something has changed. The Council is searching for us again. They must have sensed the signal you triggered. She looked down, guilt washing over her. Then I led them to you. Maybe, Jace said. Or maybe you're the reason we'll finally end this. Outside the window, the stars shifted. A wormhole opened before them, glowing blue and gold. The ship entered the light, and Lyra felt the universe twist around her. When the light faded, she gasped. Before her floated a world of silver oceans and crystal towers, a planet that looked alive. This is New Terra, Jace said quietly. The home we built after the fall. Lyra's eyes widened. It's beautiful. It's more than that, Jace said. It's the beginning of humanity's return. She turned to him. Return? To what? Jace's gaze hardened. To finish what the Council started. The ship glided silently through the clouds of New Terra, the hidden world of humankind. Lyra sat near the window, her eyes wide as she saw the shining cities below. Towers of light reached toward the sky, powered by energy that shimmered like liquid stars. There were no walls, no pollution, only balance between technology and nature. It was beautiful, too beautiful for a species the Council had called dangerous. Commander Jace Marin watched her reaction with a quiet smile. Hard to believe, isn't it? We built this from nothing, from exile. Lyra shook her head slowly. How? The Council said your world was destroyed. They said humans died fighting each other. Jace's smile faded. That's what they wanted everyone to believe. When the Council began preparing their doomsday weapon, we knew resistance meant extinction. So we made a choice. To disappear. Project Dawn, Lyra whispered. He nodded. Yes. We took every scientist, engineer, and child we could save. We left behind false signals, wrecked ships, and burned cities. The Council thought we were gone. But we were watching. As the ship landed, Lyra followed Jace through the shining streets of Haven City. Humans walked beside machines that moved like living beings. Artificial intelligence spoke softly to people, and ships flew silently above them. It was peaceful, but beneath that peace, she could sense power. Everyone here knows about the Council, she asked. Every child grows up knowing the truth, Jace said. The Council fears us because we refuse to kneel, and one day, they will face the consequences. Lyra hesitated. You sound like you're preparing for war. Jace stopped walking. His eyes turned cold. We don't start wars, Lyra, but we finish them. He led her into a vast circular hall made of crystal and steel. At its center stood a holographic map of the galaxy, thousands of stars blinking. A group of humans stood around it, all wearing the same blue insignia, the Terran Exodus Command. A woman with sharp eyes looked up. This is her? She asked. Yes, Jace replied. Lyra Venn. She's the one who unlocked Project Dawn. The woman stepped forward. I'm Admiral Kira Holt. You brought attention to our world, Lyra. The Council is now searching for you, and by extension, for us. Lyra lowered her gaze. I didn't mean to endanger anyone. I only wanted to know the truth. Kira studied her for a moment, then nodded. And now you do. The question is, what will you do with it? That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. She stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. The stars above seemed endless. She thought, about her life before all this, a simple researcher working in a quiet archive. And now she was standing on a secret human world, knowing the galaxy's greatest lie. Jace appeared beside her, holding 2 cups of steaming liquid. "It's not poison," he said lightly. Lyra smiled faintly and took one. "What happens now?" He looked at the stars. "The Council has begun reactivating the stellar net. We intercepted their transmissions. They plan to test it soon, on a nearby system." Her eyes widened. "They'll destroy entire worlds again?" He nodded slowly. "They never learn. But this time, they won't find helpless victims. This time, humanity will answer." A sudden explosion shook the air. The city lights flickered. Jace turned sharply. "They found us." Sirens wailed as the defense grid came alive. Blue shields spread across the sky like ripples of light. Lyra followed Jace to the command center, her heart racing. "Status?" he shouted. "Council probes entering orbit," a voice replied. 3 warships approaching from hyperspace." Jace cursed under his breath. "They shouldn't have found us this soon." Kira appeared on the screen. "All defense systems online. Do not engage unless necessary. We can't risk exposing the full fleet." "But if we do nothing, they'll destroy us," Lyra said. Jace turned to her. "No, they won't. They came here looking for ghosts. Let's show them what happens when ghosts fight back." From the observation deck, Lyra watched as the sky filled with light. The first Council warship fired, a beam of red energy that tore through the clouds. But before it could strike, the air itself shimmered. A massive blue barrier appeared, absorbing the blast. Then came the counterattack. Human ships emerged from the atmosphere, sleek, silent, deadly. They didn't use energy weapons like the Council. Instead, they fired pulses of light that twisted space itself. In seconds, the Council ships froze, trapped, motionless, caught in a human-made gravity net. "They can't move," Lyra whispered. Jace nodded. "We learned from them, and then went beyond them." Kira's voice echoed over the speakers. "Disable their systems. Send a message. Do not come here again." The human ships obeyed. Within minutes, the enemy vessels went dark and drifted away, powerless. Silence returned. The sky cleared. Lyra exhaled in disbelief. "You defeated them, without killing anyone." Jace looked at her calmly. "We don't destroy unless we must. But now the Council knows the truth. Humanity is not extinct. We're stronger than ever." He paused, eyes darkening. "And they'll come again." Lyra nodded slowly. "Then what will you do?" He looked at the stars, the same stars humanity once called home. "We'll be ready." Project Dawn wasn't just about survival. It was about evolution. And now it's time for Project Dusk, the beginning of our return. Far away, in the heart of the Galactic Council, alarms began to sound. A cold voice echoed in the chamber. "Unidentified human signal detected. New Terra confirmed. The humans are back." The Council members stared at the hologram in silence. Archon Sareth clenched his fists. "So the stories were true," he whispered. "They never died. They were waiting." And in that moment, fear returned to the galaxy. The galaxy had changed overnight. Rumors spread like wildfire. Humans are alive. Some species celebrated in secret. Others trembled. But in the dark halls of the Galactic Council, fear turned to rage. Archon Sareth stood before a massive hologram showing the broken image of the Council warships, paralyzed, defeated without a single human casualty. The humiliation burned deep. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They were gone." A nervous commander stepped forward. They used unknown technology, Archon. It bent gravity itself. Our ships could not move." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "Then humanity has grown beyond control. We must erase them completely this time." He raised his hand toward the glowing map of New Terra. "Prepare Operation Eclipse. If we can't find their world directly, we'll crush their allies until humanity comes out of hiding." Far across the stars, on New Terra, the humans were already preparing for what they knew would come next. In the command chamber, Admiral Kira Holt studied a long list of intercepted messages. "The Council is moving," she said quietly. They've started deploying weapons to the outer colonies. The Shadow War has begun. Commander Jace Marin crossed his arms. They're testing us, trying to draw us out. They don't know our full strength yet. Lyra stood beside them, listening. So you'll just watch while they destroy innocent worlds? She asked softly. Kira turned to her. War is never simple. If we act too soon, the Council will unite the entire galaxy against us. Humanity must remain a legend, not an army. But legends don't save lives, Lyra whispered. Jace looked at her. Sometimes they do. Sometimes fear keeps the monsters away. Later that night, Lyra sat alone in the observatory dome. Through the glass ceiling, she saw the stars. Billions of lights, each holding life, dreams, and danger. She thought about the Council's lies, about the worlds that still lived under their control. She couldn't just stay silent. A quiet voice came from behind her. You don't agree with us, Jace said. Lyra didn't turn around. I understand why you hide, but people are dying out there. The Council will punish anyone who ever spoke kindly of humans, Jace sighed. You think I don't know that? I've seen entire species vanish because of us. Then why not help them? She asked. He walked to the glass, his reflection sharp against the stars. Because we can't fight in the open. We fight in the shadows. Every day, invisible battles are being fought. Data wars, sabotage, infiltration. That's the real fight. The Shadow War. The next morning, Kira called a secret meeting. We intercepted new transmissions, she said. The Council has sent assassin drones to the Vega sector, a region where our old allies still live. We can't ignore this. Jace nodded. We'll send Ghost Fleet units. Small, fast, silent. Kira looked at Lyra. You're going with them. Lyra blinked. Me? I'm not a soldier. No, Kira said. But you're the only one who still knows how the Council thinks. We need that. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. All right, I'll go. Hours later, the stealth ship Horizon jumped through hyperspace. Lyra sat in the co-pilot seat as Jace guided the vessel toward the Vega system. Stars blurred into lines of white. The hum of the engine filled the silence. First mission? Jace asked with a small smile. First time leaving New Terra, she replied nervously. He nodded. Then remember this. In space, silence is survival. The Horizon dropped out of hyperspace near Vega 12, a mining colony once supported by humans before the Exodus. Now it was under Council control. Through the viewport, Lyra saw the planet's surface, half burned, half alive. Drones hovered over the mines like insects. The people below worked in chains. Her heart ached. They turned it into a prison. That's the Council way, Jace said. But tonight that ends. The mission began under the cover of darkness. Lyra followed Jace and his small team through the abandoned tunnels of the old human outpost. Their goal was to destroy the Council's drone command center hidden beneath the colony. Inside the control room, blue lights flickered on endless screens. Council soldiers stood guard. Jace gave silent hand signals. His team moved like ghosts. Within seconds, the guards were down, the systems hacked. Lyra connected the data crystal to the main console. Uploading counter-virus, she whispered. The screen filled with human code. Clean, elegant, fast. The drones outside froze, their lights dimming. It's working, she said with a smile. But then an alarm screamed. Unauthorized override detected. A red hologram appeared. Archon Sereth's face furious. So the ghosts return, he hissed. You can't hide forever. Shut it down. Jace shouted. Lyra pulled the cable and the screen went dark. But not before the system sent their location. Run! Jace yelled. They sprinted through the tunnels as explosions tore through the walls. The ground shook. Flames burst from the vents. Lyra stumbled, but Jace pulled her up. Keep moving! Outside, human fighters from the Ghost Fleet swooped in, firing silent bursts of light to cover their escape. The team boarded the Horizon and blasted off just before the colony erupted in a fireball. Lyra looked back. The mining world burned, but the enslaved workers were free. The Council's grip there was gone. Jace turned to her. You did well, she nodded, still breathing hard. We won? He shook his head. A small victory, but now they know we're real. The Shadow War isn't coming. It's already here. Back in the council chamber, Sareth watched the burning world on his hologram. "Find them," he said coldly. "I want every star scanned. I want their homeworld turned to ash." Another counselor spoke softly. "Archon, what if the stories are true? What if humanity has become something beyond us?" Sareth glared. "Then it's already too late for all of us." On New Terra, Kira received the mission report. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were heavy. "The Council will strike back harder," she said. Jace stood beside her. "Let them come. The more they fight us, the more they reveal their weakness." Lyra looked at them both. "And what happens when they finally find New Terra?" Kira turned to her slowly. "Then the galaxy will witness something it has forgotten. What it truly means to face humans." The galaxy was no longer quiet. Every system whispered about the same thing. Humans have returned. The Council tried to deny it, but evidence spread faster than their lies. Drones gone missing, fleets crippled, colonies freed. Humanity was striking from the shadows. Inside the golden chambers of the Galactic Council, chaos ruled. Dozens of alien leaders shouted at each other, their holographic images flickering like ghosts. "They destroyed our warships without firing a single shot," one cried. "Our spies vanished near the Vega sector," another yelled. At the center, Archon Sareth stood tall, his face calm, but his eyes filled with fire. "The humans think they can play gods," he said coldly. "They forget who controls this galaxy." A deep voice interrupted him. "Do we still control it, Archon? Or have we only been pretending?" All eyes turned toward Elder Varun, one of the oldest council members. His skin glowed faintly with silver light, the mark of his ancient race. "Speak carefully, Elder," Sareth warned. "I will," Varun said. "But tell me, how many times have we buried the truth? We called them dangerous because they were different. But now they return stronger than ever. Perhaps it is not they who are the danger. Perhaps it is us." The chamber went silent. Sareth's voice hardened. "You would defend them? After what they did?" Varun looked directly at him. "They only did what we feared. They grew. They evolved, and fear turned us into monsters." Sareth's hand slammed against the table. "Enough, the Council will not be divided." But it already was. On New Terra, Lyra sat in the Council of Human Commanders. A large hologram of the galaxy spun before them, glowing with red and blue lights. Red for the Council's forces, blue for liberated worlds. "We've spread faster than expected," said Admiral Kira Holt. "Our allies are rising again, but the Council won't stay silent much longer." Jace Marin nodded. "They're desperate. Desperate leaders make mistakes. That's when we strike." Lyra watched quietly, her thoughts heavy. "Do you really plan to fight them openly?" she asked. Kira's sharp eyes met hers. "If peace fails, yes. We will end this war before it begins, just like before." "Before?" Lyra frowned. "You mean the first time when you vanished?" Jace leaned closer, his tone lower. "You still don't know the full story, do you?" Lyra looked at him. "Then tell me." They took her to the vault of memory, deep beneath the surface of New Terra. The air was cold, the lights dim. Rows of old data crystals lined the walls, silent witnesses of the past. Jace stopped before a single crystal marked Earth, final record. He placed it in the console, and the hologram of Captain Elias Ward appeared. The same man from the first message she had found. "To all who come after us," his voice said, "know this truth. Humanity did not flee in fear. We saw what the Council had become, a system built on fear and control. We chose not to destroy them, but to leave them behind. Yet even as we left, they prepared their weapon. We could have stopped them, but we didn't. We wanted them to see what life without humans would become." The image faded. Lyra whispered, "You let them destroy themselves." Jace nodded slowly. "Yes, we believed they would crumble without us. But instead they became worse, crueler, colder. Maybe that was our mistake." Kira stepped forward. "That's why we must finish what our ancestors started. Not through revenge, but through truth. The galaxy needs to remember who we were, and what we stood for." Back in the Galactic Council, Archon Sareth's fury grew. He ordered fleets to search every corner of the stars. Millions of lives were being lost in his desperate hunt for humanity. But Elder Varun had started gathering followers, ambassadors, soldiers, even scientists who believed the Council was wrong. They called themselves the Reformists. One night, inside a secret chamber, Varun met with a young council officer, Taren Vos. "Are you sure about this?" Taren asked. "Helping the humans means treason," Varun smiled softly. "No, my friend. It means hope." He handed him a small crystal. "Take this to the Vega border. Give it to anyone carrying the mark of the star." Taren didn't understand, until he saw it, the human insignia. Meanwhile, on New Terra, strange news reached Lyra. "An envoy from the Council?" She repeated. Jace nodded. "Yes, they sent a message under a neutral flag. They want to meet." Kira frowned. "It's a trap." "Maybe," Jace said. "But it could also be a crack inside their walls." "The Council is breaking apart." Lyra looked between them. "Then let me go." "They'll talk to me." "I'm one of them." Jace shook his head instantly. "Too dangerous," but Kira raised a hand. "No, let her go. Sometimes peace starts with one voice." Jace didn't like it, but he didn't argue. "Fine," he said quietly. "But you won't go alone." The meeting took place in an abandoned orbital station between two suns. Lyra and Jace arrived first. The place was silent, cold, and filled with the ghosts of old wars. Moments later, a small ship docked. Two figures stepped out. One of them was Elder Varun. "I'm glad you came," he said gently. "The Council has lost its way. Many of us wish to end this madness." Lyra studied him carefully. "Then why now?" "Because Archon Sareth prepares the weapon again," Varun said. "The stellar net. If he activates it, the blast will reach every major system, including yours." Jace's jaw tightened. "He's going to destroy the galaxy to kill us." Varun nodded sadly. "Unless we stop him together." Suddenly the alarms blared. From the station's windows, dozens of warships appeared. Council forces led by Sareth himself. "It's a trap," Jace shouted, drawing his weapon. Varun's eyes widened. "No, I didn't call them." But it was too late. The Council ships opened fire. The station trembled, debris flying in all directions. Lyra grabbed Varun's arm. "We have to go." The three of them ran through the collapsing halls. Flames burst from the walls, alarms screaming. As they reached the hangar, Jace shouted over the chaos, "He's going to kill his own people just to silence you." Varun turned, his face calm even in the firelight. "Then the galaxy must know who he truly is." He pressed a small crystal into Lyra's hand. "Take this. It contains proof of everything the Council did. The lies, the destruction, the cover-up of Earth." Lyra's eyes widened. "Why me?" "Because you still believe truth can change hearts," he said softly. "Now go." He stayed behind, sealing the door. Seconds later, an explosion consumed the station. Lyra and Jace barely escaped before the entire structure exploded behind them. Inside the ship, Lyra opened her hand. The crystal still glowed faintly. Jace looked at her. "What is it?" She whispered, "The key to the galaxy's truth. And maybe it's salvation." Outside, the stars burned brighter, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The Council was broken, the humans were ready, and the real war was about to begin. The ship drifted through the silent stars. Lyra sat near the viewport, staring at the glowing crystal in her palm. It pulsed softly as if alive. Every beat echoed like a heartbeat, slow, steady, powerful. Behind her, Jace Marin checked the ship's systems. "We're safe for now," he said. "But Sareth won't stop until we're dust." Lyra nodded slowly. "Varun died to give us this. We can't let it be for nothing." Jace walked over, lowering his voice. "That crystal might contain the truth, but if we broadcast it wrong, Sareth will twist it. He'll call it human propaganda." Lyra turned the crystal in her hand. "Then we don't just tell the truth. Show it." They returned to New Terra, where the command center was alive with chaos. Reports flooded in. Council fleets advancing, colonies preparing for war. Admiral Kira Holt met them at the landing bay. "You're lucky you made it back," she said. "The Council declared us a galactic threat. Every ship that aids us will be destroyed." Lyra handed her the crystal. "Then it's time the galaxy knows who the real threat is." Kira studied it for a moment, then looked at her. "What's on it?" "Everything," Lyra said softly. "The truth about the Council's crimes, the destruction of Earth, the lies they built their power on." Kira's eyes hardened. Then we'll use it. We'll show the galaxy what fear tried to erase. Hours later, deep beneath New Terra's surface, a massive chamber came alive. The Echo Array, a relic of the old human age. It was the last surviving broadcast network capable of reaching every corner of the stars. Technicians prepared the signal, while soldiers guarded the entrance. Lyra stood before the console, her reflection shimmering on the metal. "This is our last chance," Jace said. "Once we send it, there's no going back." She smiled faintly. There never was a way back. Far across the stars, in the shining halls of the Galactic Council, Archon Sareth watched the reports pouring in. "Human activity detected across multiple sectors," said an officer. "But there's something strange. They're not attacking." Sareth narrowed his eyes. "Then what are they doing?" The officer hesitated. "They're broadcasting." Suddenly the lights flickered. The council chamber's grand hollow screens turned blue. Every world, every colony, every ship, all across the galaxy, received the same transmission. A calm human voice filled the air. "This is Lyra of New Terra. For centuries you were told that humanity was dangerous, that we sought destruction, but you were never told what truly happened. The image of Earth appeared, not as a living world, but as a burned memory. Cities turned to ash, oceans gone. The Council destroyed our home because we refused to submit. And when we left, they erased us from history. But we never vanished. We watched, we waited. We grew stronger, not for war, but for truth." Gasps echoed in the Council chamber. The transmission continued. Recordings of Sareth's secret orders, the creation of the stellar net weapon, and Elder Varun's final message. Every secret lie was laid bare. Sareth's composure shattered. "Cut the transmission now," he shouted, but the system didn't respond. The Echo Array was overriding every channel. Even the Council's own guards were watching in silence, some lowering their weapons, others removing their insignias. "This is treason," Sareth roared, but one guard whispered softly, "No, Archon. This is truth." Back on New Terra, Lyra's face appeared across the stars. Her eyes were calm but fierce. "The galaxy has lived under fear long enough. The Council acted too late, too blind to see what humanity had become. We don't seek revenge. We seek freedom, the kind that belongs to all, not just a few." Her final words echoed through every ship, every world, every heart. "You feared humanity, but maybe it's time you remembered why." Then the signal cut. Silence filled the void. For a long moment, the galaxy simply paused, and then everything changed. Worlds that had been silent for centuries began to rise. Colonies turned against the Council's fleets. Messages of rebellion filled the airwaves. The reformists, Varun's followers, openly defied Sareth's orders. The galaxy was no longer under one rule. On the Council's main world, chaos erupted. Sareth stood at the balcony, watching the night sky filled with burning lights, the fires of rebellion. His advisor stumbled toward him. "Archon, what should we do?" "The fleets refuse to obey." Sareth's face twisted with fury. "If they won't follow, then they'll burn with the rest." He activated the console. The image of the stellar net appeared again. It was the same weapon he once threatened to use, a network that could destroy entire systems with one command. "This time," he whispered, "I will finish it." On New Terra, alarms began to blare. "Massive energy buildup detected in the Council core," shouted a technician. Kira turned to Lyra and Jace. "He's activating the stellar net again." Jace's fists clenched. "He's going to wipe out half the galaxy." Lyra's voice was steady but cold. "Not if we stop him first." Kira looked at her. "How?" Lyra stared at the map of stars. The lines of the stellar net pulsed brighter and brighter, a web of destruction spreading across space. "Varun once said," she murmured, "truth can change hearts, but sometimes it must also stop monsters." She turned to Jace. "Prepare the fleet. We're going to the Council's homeworld." Jace nodded grimly. "Then it ends tonight." As their ships rose from New Terra, the stars shimmered around them. Millions of lights, each one holding a story, a memory, a promise. The humans were no longer ghosts. They were hope, and in the heart of the galaxy, the Council prepared its final act of madness. The last war had begun. The stars burned red. Every sensor across the galaxy screamed warnings. The stellar net was activating. Its energy waves began to rise, connecting worlds in a deadly web of light. On New Terra, Lyra stood in the command deck, watching the holographic galaxy map fill with crimson lines. "The weapon's charging faster than we expected," said Admiral Kira Holt. "Once it's fully powered, every world within its reach will burn." Jace Marin stepped forward, voice tight. "We'll never make it in time if we go around their fleets." Lyra's eyes were cold but determined. "Then we go through them." The room went silent. Everyone knew what that meant. A direct assault on the Council Core, the most heavily guarded system in the galaxy. Kira gave a sharp nod. "Then we fight to the last breath." The human fleet launched from New Terra like a storm of light. Old ships, rebuilt from forgotten times, flew beside sleek new ones forged in secret. Each carried the mark of Earth, a single blue circle surrounded by white. All across the comms, human voices echoed with resolve. For Earth, for the lost, for the truth. Even worlds that had once been enemies now sent their ships to join them. The signal Lyra had broadcast still lived in their hearts. The galaxy was no longer silent. It was rising. Inside the Council spire, Archon Sareth stood before the stellar net control. The energy beams twisted around him like serpents of light. His face was pale, half-lit by the burning glow. "Do you see it, Varun?" he muttered, staring at the sky. "You believed in hope? I believe in order. I will save this galaxy, even if I must destroy it first." He raised his hand over the final command key. "Goodbye, humanity." But before he could press it, alarms blared. A voice shouted from the control deck. "Archon! Multiple fleets approaching. They've breached our outer line." Sareth's eyes widened. "Impossible." Then the stars outside exploded into motion. Thousands of human ships dropped out of warp, black against the light, fast and fierce. At their head was the flagship Aurora, carrying Lyra, Jace, and Kira. "Target the power conduits." Kira ordered. "Don't let the net reach full charge." The battle began, and the galaxy shook. Lasers streaked across the void like falling stars. Human and Council ships clashed in furious waves. Explosions rippled through the stellar net structure, tearing holes in its deadly web. Lyra watched from the Aurora's command chair. "We're losing ships too fast," Jace warned. "Keep the pressure," she said. "If we fall, everyone falls." Kira turned from the tactical screen. "The Council core is shielded. We need to get inside to shut it down manually." Lyra met her eyes. "Then that's where we go." They launched a small strike craft under heavy fire. The hull rattled as plasma bolts screamed past. Jace piloted with steel nerves, weaving through burning debris. "I hope you know what you're doing," he shouted. Lyra smirked. "Not really. But I know what's right." They dove straight into the Council spire, the very heart of Sareth's empire. Landing with a crash, they stepped into the golden halls, now cracked and burning. The once great Council world was dying. Sareth stood waiting for them in the central chamber, the control node behind him glowing with deadly power. "So," he said coldly, "the ghosts finally return." Lyra stepped forward. "You call us ghosts, but you're the one clinging to a dead dream." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "You think truth will save you? You think the galaxy needs you? Humanity was chaos. We brought peace. You brought fear," she replied softly. "And fear is not peace." Sareth's hand moved toward the control key. "Then die with your truth." Jace fired first, a plasma shot that struck the console, sending sparks across the room. The control node flickered, energy surging out of control. "You fool!" Sareth roared. "You'll destroy everything." Lyra shouted, "Then stop it." Sareth hesitated. The light burned through the floor, spreading faster. Kira's voice came through the comms. "Lyra, the stellar net's going critical. If it detonates, it'll wipe out the entire system." Lyra turned to Jace. "We have to cut the main link." "But that's suicide," he said. She met his eyes, calm and steady. "Maybe, but if we don't, no one survives." They ran toward the core, a massive chamber filled with spinning energy rings. The light was blinding, the air vibrating with raw power. Sareth followed, screaming over the roar. "You can't stop it." "You're just humans." Lyra looked back at him, a faint smile on her lips. "Exactly." She leapt toward the control platform, her suit flaring with sparks. Jace shouted after her, but she didn't slow down. With both hands, she jammed the crystal, Varun's crystal, into the main console. The entire chamber filled with a brilliant white light. For a heartbeat, time stopped. Then the stellar net began to collapse. From space, the massive weapon folded in on itself, the energy lines fading like dying stars. Every council ship went dark. The sky turned silent again. On the Aurora, Kira watched the readings drop. "It's over," she whispered. "She did it." Jace's voice came through the comms, unbroken, quiet. "Lyra's gone." Kira closed her eyes. "Then she saved us all." Days later, the fires of war faded. The council was gone. Worlds began rebuilding, this time together. The galaxy was no longer ruled by fear. It was learning hope again. At dawn on New Terra, Jace stood at the memorial platform. The new sun rose, painting the sky gold. He placed a hand on a small plaque that read, "Lyra of Earth, she gave the stars back their light." Kira walked up beside him. "She believed the galaxy could change," she said softly. Jace smiled faintly. And maybe it finally did. Far away, deep in the void, a faint blue light flickered. The last echo of the crystal. A voice, calm and gentle, whispered through the static. The council acted too late. Humanity was gone before it began. But we were never truly lost. We became the stars themselves. The light faded into the endless horizon. The age of fear had ended. And the dawn of humanity, the final dawn, had begun.